Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Ryan118, here today. We're here to talk about Celtic transfer news. That is what this is. This is the second one of the January window I've done on the channel. If you haven't seen the first one, well, it's a bit late. That was more about the start of the window. But if you want to go and watch it, feel free. The link will be in the description below, or you can scroll back and find it on my channel. But basically, we're just talking about the Celtic transfer rumours for the ins and outs of the team for the January transfer window. We're now halfway through. I said I would do one at the start, I would do one halfway through, and I would do one at the... My door just opened itself. But I said I would do one at the start, the middle and the end of the transfer window. So we're here halfway through, and since I last updated you, fairly quiet for Celtic, especially on the ins side of things. Kouassi remains our only signing so far of the January transfer window, and I've not really heard of any heavy links yet, of any new signings, which is surprising because there was rumours going about at the start of the transfer window that Celtic were given £6 million to spend. By now I thought we would have been linked with a few other players, but Kouassi right now the only player we've been heavily linked with and the only player we've signed. So is there more to come? I don't know, but we've got a few things to talk about today. More to do with who's going out and signings for next season, not in this January transfer window. So a few things to talk about, and we'll get on to them as they come along. First thing to talk about is a Turkish defender. I've got the names and shit written down again because I can't remember names that are Turkish, for example. So we've got Ali Kaldırım from Fenerbahce. Apparently we're going to try and sign him on a free contract, a pre-contract, on a free transfer, and they will arrive at the team at the end of the season. This isn't a big rumour. This has been something that's been floating about for a week now. I remember first seeing of it on Facebook about last week. It's still floating around there that we're trying to sign him. Obviously, I said in the last video, I think Celtic need that bit more depth in the defensive areas, and he could probably be a good signing for the defence. I've never seen the guy play in my life. I've never seen the stats of the guy. I'll put stats up on the screen of his season this year if he's played any games. I don't know anything about him. Ali Kaldırım, I think his name is. Potentially a good defender though. You know, we've signed obscure players before. I mean, Kouassi, he's quite an obscure player to be honest. But look at the players we have signed from teams in like Israel and Turkey and all that. You know, we've brought in players like Beram Kaya, Emilio Zagiri, Victor Wanyama, and they've turned out to be stars for us. So, you know, could this same effect come into play with this Turkish defender? I don't see him getting a game over Simunovic and Siviachenko playing at their current form, but depth is needed. And with the players who could be leaving the club who aren't the best of quality for Celtic, you know, it could be a much needed signing. The second signing for next season might not be a signing, it might be a loan. This rumour started going about a couple of days ago, and I'm very happy with it if it's true. Brendan Rodgers has apparently asked Manchester City to have Patrick Roberts on loan to the club for one more year, which would be terrific having Patrick Roberts at the team. He brings a great quality to the club, in my opinion. I mean, James Forrest, don't get me wrong, has had a great season, but I feel like when it comes to the big games in Europe, Patrick Roberts is a far better player. He's a better player for these big games against teams in Europe, and Patrick Roberts proved that when he did play in Europe this season. I mean, look at the game down there. He had Patrick Roberts 2 minutes into the game, put us up 1-0 against his parent club. I think he's a great player. Honestly, he will be one of the top players in England in 5 years' time. And having him here, you know, he's great for our league. He's great in European competition. I would love to have him stay. It helps us get further in Europe. You know, if next season we're trying to challenge on to get to the last 16 of the Champions League, I think he is a much needed player. So if we manage to get him on loan for one more season, I'll be very happy with that. That's one of the rumours floating about, that Brendan Rodgers has asked Pep Guardiola to have him on loan for one more season. Whether Manchester City agree or not is a different story. Obviously, Man City are struggling, so Patrick Roberts probably will be a player they might want to actually get involved with the first team next season to try and improve, you know, the struggles that they're having right now. But we'll see about that when the time comes. Hopefully, though, we have him for another season now. Kolo Toure, a player who's kind of fell into obscurity with Celtic, you could say, ever since that, you know, blunder of a game he had against Borussia Mönchengladbach at Celtic Park. You know, he's been quiet, he's not been getting into the team, he's not been having a chance. I think he's played like 1 or 2 games since that I can remember anyway, but apparently Brendan Rodgers has given Kolo Toure the chance to be a coach at Celtic. Another rumour floating about. All the links to these rumours and shit I'll put in the description, but apparently Kolo Toure might be becoming a coach at Celtic, which I think is a great idea. You know, he's a Premier League winner, he's got great experience, he still is a great defender, and he can help the young guys grow. There's a lot of players in the team, you know, who need a bit of support, a bit of help, and he's the man to do it. I mean, he's got experience everywhere. He's played in England and won, what, how many Premier League medals? 3 Premier League medals, I think, maybe 2. He's had a great career, you know, he'd be a fantastic coach for Celtic, maybe even for an under-21s coach. He doesn't have to be a first-team coach, but I think he would be great to tutor players, develop them, and he could really benefit the youngsters of the team. So I think if offering him the chance to study for his coaching badges and giving him a job as a coach at Celtic is a good idea. I think he would be a great coach for us, and he could do a lot of good for the future centre-backs and defenders in general of Celtic. Now, to be honest, that's the ins and such done with Celtic. As I said, there's not been any heavy rumours for Celtic. There's not been much to talk about for Celtic. So hopefully that changes over the next 10 days. Hopefully Celtic do go after a couple of players to bring in January, make it a bit more exciting. But as I said in the last video, right now, we don't really need anybody in the first team. But depth would be nice, you know, bring in some players. A lot of you have been leaving your thoughts and your opinions, to my opinion, in the comments. A lot of people agreeing with what I'm saying, a lot of people disagreeing with what I'm saying, which I can see. A lot of people might disagree with me. That's just my opinion. I respect other people's opinions. I'm glad you respect mine. One comment that I really did agree with yesterday was someone was saying they agreed with what I was saying. But they thought, you know, there still is depth needed. There's not enough. If someone's to get injured, you know, there's not enough quality to come on and replace, say, Stuart Armstrong, you know. So Kwasi Abui being brought in was probably a good idea. And I agree, I think it is a good idea. It'll add great depth to the team, hopefully. The signing pays off. Time to move to the outs now. And I've got all the shit wrote down. Now, this one, quite big. It broke out yesterday on the Daily Record. That says it all, really. Daily Record. You can't really trust the Daily Record, can you? Kieran Tierney. Apparently, Man United are ready to launch a £10 million bid for our left back, Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney, still only 19. Had a terrific season last year, really breaking out into the first team, you all know. And this season, you know, he's been brought down by an injury, sadly, but he's had a fantastic season, Kieran Tierney, nonetheless. And Man United have acknowledged that, and it was only a matter of time. If this is true, it's really just broke out in the last day. This is quite a news story, to be honest. I hope to Christ Tierney doesn't go. I'm a Man United fan as well, right? But I want Tierney to stay at Celtic to the day he retires. Let's have him like Danny McGrain, for example. If he does go to United, which I doubt he would in this transfer window, I do think the story is a lot of bollocks. We'll have to just wait to see how it develops. If he does go to United, I can see us getting him back on loan for another year or two. I don't think he's going to break into the United team. I mean, they've got the likes of Luke Shaw. Apparently, they're trying to get Patrice Evra. They've got Daley Blind. They don't really need him, in all fairness. I think it's just looking forward into the future. And yes, he would be great down in United, I think. But I would like him to stay at Celtic for as long as possible. I think we really need him. We really benefit from having him in the team. And, you know, it makes watching the team a lot more enjoyable when he's there. I think we're a lot more enjoyable to watch. And, you know, he's a player who's very passionate towards the club, and the fans are very passionate towards him. He's a great player. I'd love to see him stay. So we'll see how this develops over the next few days, I suppose, with Tierney heading to United apparently. But hopefully we manage to keep a hold on of him like we've done with Dembele. And we'll see where it goes in the future. I suppose obviously you can't hold him back to stay here forever if he's getting the chance to go and play at, you know, what is dubbed the most famous team in the world. Obviously not having the greatest of successes this season, Man United, but I mean, if you're getting a chance to move to Man United, it's a chance you probably do want to take. So we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't like to see us disrupt his morale or anything if he wanted to move, but hopefully Tierney does stay at the club. And I guess we'll just see how the story develops, but that is a news story. Let me know what you think of that story. Do you think it's actually real, or do you think it's a load of bollocks created by the Daily Record? We'll see. Ambrose is apparently leaving. Hip hip hooray, I'm fucking thrilled at that, I'm not going to lie. I don't like Effie Ambrose, and I've voiced that many times on the channel, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about him. Apparently a couple of French teams have bidded for him, and Blackburn apparently launched a bid today down in England for Effie, so it looks as though he will be leaving. He's not played since July. I'm not going to say good riddance, because there is still that kind of, you know, he has that in him, he can be good. But he's just done too much to turn the fans against him, and at this point he's never going to get back into the team. So the only way forward for him is to take a move, or either that'll be wasting away on the bench in the reserves. He's not even been on the bench this season. He's not going to get a game. He may as well take the move. Owen O'Connell has got a loan, which is nice to see. I'm glad Owen O'Connell has been loaned out. I think it's to Walsall. It was linked with going to Kilmarnock, but he's went to Walsall, I believe. It might be Wickham. I can't remember, but Owen O'Connell is gone for the rest of the season out on loan, which is good. You know, give him a chance to get some first team experience. At the start of the season, when Sviatchenko was injured, he was doing really well. I thought he'd done well. He impressed and really shown that he's ready to be introduced to the team at any point. But, you know, with Sviatchenko and Simunovic on great form, once again, he's not going to get into the team, so give him a chance to go and play and improve somewhere else. I think it's a good idea from Brendan Rodgers to send him out on loan for that. Gary Mackay-Steven, a bid was rejected over the past day or two for him to go back on loan to Dundee United. I'm surprised we didn't loan him out, to be honest. So it must mean Brendan Rodgers has got some sort of plan to get more team time in the first team. Who knows? I really thought we'd have loaned him out to Dundee United, to be honest. His old team. He's not been involved in an awful lot this season. He's really only came through into getting a game or two in the past month or so. So, you know, I wonder what that means if Brendan Rodgers is keeping him around for a reason. Is it just purely to have depth there in case there's any injuries on Sinclair? Well, I guess we'll find out. But I'm Mackay-Steven. I'm surprised he didn't go to Dundee United. I think it would have benefited him to get him some time on the field. But, you know, obviously, it's up to the manager, and we've kept him at the club for a little while longer. And to be honest, that's mostly it. Celtic transfer window has been quiet since the signing of Kouassi Abui. I'm not too bothered, but with the rumour that we had 6 million, I thought there would have been a lot more heavy rumours and a lot more kind of reputable signings being discussed at this point, but I guess we'll wait and see towards the end of the transfer window. Let me know who you think Celtic should sign and what they should do and all the rest of it, and what your opinions are and the whole situation about Kieran Tierney. That's really the main story for this one. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. You know, I just want to do these to, you know, update you all and keep the Celtic topic going on the channel. That's really what we're formed into, being a wee Celtic kind of fan channel here. So, and I love that. So thank you all very much for being so supportive. And guys, until next time, this has been me, Ryan118, and I'll see you all later.